Okay, so let's continue our discussion in numerical methods. So tapos na tayo sa bracketing methods. So yung root niya is located within an interval. So open method naman, it is based on formulas that require only a single starting value of x. So pwedeng isang x lang or pwedeng dalawa naman yung starting values niya that do not necessarily bracket. Okay? So we have the first method, which is the Newton's method or the Newton-Raphson. So given tayo ng y is equal to f of x as our function, and our iterative formula will be x sub k plus 1 is equal to x sub k minus f of x sub k all over the integral f prime of x sub k. So, kukuhanin natin yung derivative ng function and then we plug values of x sub k. Okay, so let's have example number 1. So, using Newton's method, find the root of f of x equal to sine x minus 0.52, where x sub 0 is equal to pi over 6 until relative error e, absolute value of e, is less than 0.001. So, meron tayong table dito. Sa first column natin will contain yung values for our k. Our second column is si x sub k. And then for our third column is si x sub k plus 1. Okay? And this will contain our absolute error or relative error, which is equal to, for this problem, the xk plus 1 minus x sub k all over x sub k plus 1. Okay, so ito yung formula kung paano natin i-compute si relative error for this problem. Now, for k is equal to 0, we have x sub 0 here. X sub 0 natin is pi over 6. And our x sub k plus 1, so formula natin for x sub k plus 1 is equal to x sub k minus f of x sub k all over f prime of x sub k. So, ano yung f of x natin? This one, si sin x minus 0.52. So, this is equal to x sub, k natin is equal to 0. So, at 0. At k is equal to 0, x sub 1 is equal to x sub 0 minus sin x sub 0 minus 0.52 all over the derivative of this one. What is the derivative of sin x minus 0.52? Sin x minus 0.52 dx. Okay? So, kunin muna natin yung derivative ng ating function. Huwag na muna natin isulat. Okay, so what is the derivative of our function? So, the derivative of sin x minus 0.52 over dx is equal to the derivative of sin x, that will be cosine x. The derivative of constant is 0. So, cosine x na lang. So, this will be cosine x sub 0. So, this is equal to, what is x sub 0? Pi over 6 minus sine pi over 6 minus 0.52 all over cosine pi over 6. Don't forget, your calculators must be in radian mode. Okay, so if we compute this one, input this on your calculator, you will get the value of x sub k plus 1 equal to 0.546693. Okay, so 6 decimal places tayo ngayon. Now, if you want, now we compute the relative error kung mag-stop na ba tayo dyan. So, our relative error will be, okay, so lagay natin e sub 0. Kasi k natin is equal to 0. This is equal to x sub k plus 1, that is 0.546693 minus x sub k natin is pi over 6 all over x sub k plus 1, 0.546693. So, our relative error is equal to 0.04 2243. Okay, so our relative error is still not less than 0.001. So we still proceed with the iteration. Okay, now for our k is equal to 1. Okay, k is equal to 1. X sub k natin is equal to this one kasi x sub 0 plus 1 is x sub 1. So, plug natin to dito. 0.546693. Then, x sub k plus 1 natin is, okay, plug natin yung mga values dito. That will be x sub 2, x sub x sub 2 kasi k plus 1. Okay, sige. X sub 2 is equal to x sub 1 minus sine x sub 1 minus 0.52 all over cosine x sub 1. So, what is our x sub 1? That is 0.546693. So, this is 0.546693 minus sine 0.546693 minus 0.52 over cosine 0.546693. Okay? So, our x sub 2 will be equal to, computing this one, you will have 0.546851. Now, for the relative error E sub 1, this is equal to, ayan, 0.546851 minus, ito si x sub k natin, 0.546851 minus 0.546693 all over 0.546851. So, by looking at the values, you can see na napakababa na talaga ng relative error niya. So, computing this one, you will have a relative error equal to 0.000289. And if we go back to our condition dito, our relative error is now less than 0.001. Therefore, we should stop at second iteration. Okay, so if you want to do the computation sa calculator ninyo for checking, you can do this one. Turo ko na lang sa inyo yung calcu niya. So, input nyo sa calculator nyo yung formula natin, si x sub k. So, x sub k plus 1 is equal to x sub k minus f of x sub k all over f prime x sub k. Okay, so ito yung formula natin. Now, for x sub k, at k is equal to 0. Okay, so x sub 0 tayo. X sub 0 is equal to pi over 6. So, ang gagawin nyo sa calculator ninyo is, of course, dapat naka-radians siya. So, input nyo si x. Okay, sa calcu ninyo, dapat x minus, input nyo si function, sine x minus 0.52. Okay, dapat yung variable na gagamitin nyo or yung variable na gagamitin nyo to replace si pi over 6 will be the same. Okay, so for this example, gagamitin ko si x sa calculator. You can use y, you can use a, b, c, d, e, f, x, m, pwede nyo gamitin yun. But for convenience, gamitin natin si x as a variable. Okay, so type nyo si function and then over, how would you type si derivative? So shift tapos yung integral sign. Okay, for d over dx tapos close and open parenthesis x is equal to blank. Okay, so para ma-input nyo to, you need to press si shift. Okay, shift and then si integral. Yung may integral dito. Okay, Okay, so when you press shift and then yung integral na button, you will have the derivative. So, when you press that, input nyo si function, si sin x minus 0.52. Okay? And then maghahanap siya ng value ng x, ilagay nyo will be si x. So, alpha x yung i-type ninyo. So, ito yung magiging laman ng screen ninyo sa calculator. And then, you press calc. Tapos, maghahanap siya ng value ng x. So, lagay nyo na value ng x is pi over 6, which is the initial value natin. And then, press equals. So, ang lalabas ngayon is ito. Si 546693. So, you can try that while watching this video. Para lang mas magiging madali yung computation ninyo. But this is only for checking, ha? Sa solutions ninyo sa exams, I need to see kung ano talaga yung derivative ng function. Okay? So, that is Newton's method.